All right, we're live. Back for the generals. It's been a few months. What's up, brother?
What's going on? Morning.
Good. How's my audio? Am I clear?
Yeah, you're loud and clear on mine.
Good. Never really do a Sunday morning cast, but here we go.
Yeah, giving it a shot, see how it goes.
Yeah, so what are we doing here? We're back on generals. We took a few months off.
Yeah, I had a couple guys hit me up and asked if we were going to bring these back. And yeah, it's something we did. I think the last one we did was probably back in December. So bringing these back and having guys join, want to give guys an opportunity if they're in the community or they don't get a chance to call in on the Thursday night show or the Wednesday day show, if they want to kind of call in and chop it up about anything in particular on Sunday. So plenty of opportunities for guys to ask questions and discuss things that might be on their mind.
Cool. Let me grab the invite link and put it in the chat in case anybody wants to call in and ask a question. Call and ask a Q. All right, so we got, I don't know, like an hour and 15 minutes or so. I figured this morning we'll just sort of chop it up and see what we had. What's been going on this week for you?
So I did a show on Thursday, and I hadn't gotten your take on this yet. So there was this girl that went on the Whatever podcast and a couple other podcasts. She sort of went viral. She had, this crazy red hair. She got to the 0.01% rank on OnlyFans, something like that. She went viral for saying she had this cheating fantasy and she wanted to exclusively either, I think it was bang married men or men with girlfriends and things like that. That was kind of her thing. Mm-hmm. And then she recently made the turn to Jesus and got baptized and got saved, and now is saying she was tempted by the devil and she's now saved, and she's deleting her OnlyFans, and now she's there's a video that she shared that is going around Twitter right now, about a 5-minute long video of her testimony, so to speak. Yeah, right there. And so this is my tweet that I put out, I guess, Saturday night, that went viral. So as of
now,
we
play it sort of like,
yeah, let's, I did this a little bit on Thursday, but yeah, let's start from the beginning if you want, and we can just kind of go through it.
All right, hang on a sec. Let me just make sure I got audio on this so we can hear it. Also share audio tab. We're good. Let's give it a little bit of size because chicks dig the size. Yeah, it's actually only 2 minutes and change. So let's see what this chick says. I saw the whatever clip of her.
The whole thing's 5, yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay, 450. Yeah, I saw the whatever clip of her going on about one, having a cheating fantasy and then showing her getting baptized. So this is sort of her, I guess, her story. Here we go. And of course, you get the spinning wheel of death. I have a feeling it's a video quality. Let's try to tone it back a little bit so it fucking speeds up. Here, come on. Oh, for crying out loud. Hey, let me refresh the page.
Yeah, just refresh it.
All right, here we go.
Quick, I have a couple things to address, and I just need you to listen to me. So I've had quite a few people reach out to me, comment, just truly curious about what and why I changed. So listen, I was a pastor's kid for almost all my life. I grew up in church. I was always in church. I was also homeschooled. So my life truly felt like a cage. And I'm not saying Christianity is a cage. I'm saying religion was the cage. I was a Baptist, I was a Baptist pastor's child for the longest time, right? Me and my family did not have a good relationship, and I'm the middle of 5 children. So I'm talking about my other brothers and sisters and my parents. It just truly felt like such a cage. I was a very rebellious child, sneaking out when I was 16 years old. I was just going the wrong way, right? So about 4 years ago, I started my OnlyFans because I think truly it was out of pure rebellion. And honestly, I'm such a independent person that I never felt the need for a man to provide for me, have a man in my life to provide for me. So I started OnlyFans about 4 years ago, and I climbed to top 0.01%. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that the devil can truly give you things in this life. He has a budget though. He can only go so far. So a couple million, okay, great. The devil can do that sometimes, right? but I truly have gifts and talents. I just did not use them in the right way. And I'm reaching out to anyone who's like questioning what they should do in their life. And I turn to corn. That's what we're going to call it. Okay. So this is just me sharing my personal experience with you. So I reached out and did corn for 4 years. And I showed myself all over the internet. I said crazy things on podcasts. If you don't know the I Love Cheating podcast. And so I met this person who's now my partner, and he truly showed me God's love. He was sending me Bible verses, praying over me, and we were just friends. So like the Holy Spirit was truly working and moving, but I was in such a rebellion against it because I was like, God doesn't love me. I've had to work this hard for this many years because no one cared about me. My family didn't care about me. Christianity is a cage. It's not Christianity. It's religion. Religion is the cage. And unfortunately, I didn't have like good role models growing up. My parents, my siblings, I didn't have good friends. I truly fell into darkness. And I was, like I said, I was top 0.01% creator. Like that is crazy. That is a crazy milestone to reach in that industry. So I made what I made. I did what I did, but I want to share with you guys the truth of it all, because I am now giving it all up for Christ. I am now truly a believer. I would never take it back. God radically saved me from this darkness. And let me tell you again, the devil has a budget, but God does not. God literally made you. He made this world. He made the heavens. Like, what makes you think that God can't bless you with anything? But the devil will give you these things that trip you up, and money in front of your face, and these worldly friends, your family that isn't there for you, but don't be discouraged, because God has a better plan for your life. And let me tell you, I have felt and started living that plan. And since then, the money, the fame, the Gucci, Louis, whatever bags, the shoes, the clothing, the huge trips that I've taken doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, do you want to go to heaven or do you want to go to hell? And my soul, I'm sorry, but it's not worth going to hell for at all. And God loves you so much that he's willing to give you everlasting life. You need to understand that your life is very temporary here on earth, and we all have a mission, and that's to preach the word of God. Okay? I love you guys. I just wanted to clear that up and share a little bit of my testimony, but there you have it. Please be nice in the comments, because just remember, you are not here to judge others. God is here to judge, not you. So please, please be nice, be kind, be loving, bear the fruits of the Spirit. I love you guys. I love you so much, and God bless.
Well, there you go. So where do we start with that? I mean, she came from a pastor's household. She's complaining that she didn't have good role models growing up.
Middle child.
Christianity, what wasn't the problem? Religion was the cage, blah, blah, blah. What did the comments say on this one? Here, I'll throw it back up on the screen. I'm just curious what the feedback was.
Well, so my tweet on it was, if you scroll up, or my commentary on it was something along the lines of like, women love Christianity because it's the ultimate get out of jail free card. There's no responsibility or accountability. And this is the kind of comments and responses you would get, like, oh, it's a redemption story, and you're not God, only God can judge, this and that. The other, and all this kind of stuff. So it's the ultimate reset button, the clean slate. And what I really wanted to get across with this comment was more so like, first of all, women tend to be more religious than men. So that's already, you talk about what women are attracted to, and sort of like the woo-woo and the spirituality and all that kind of stuff. Like, women are on average more religious than men. And so part of that also is because, like, why wouldn't you be attracted to something if your whole thing and your whole shtick and whole spiel is biologically avoiding accountability and responsibility for your actions, and you can pass the buck on to somebody else and say, nope, I'm wiped clean, it's a clean slate, and you can't judge. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they? But this seems to fly directly in the face, because all we ever hear from tradcons is go find a girl at church, go find a pastor's daughter, go find a girl that's given her life up to God. And
well, here we have one.
Well, there you go. Exactly. And you're seeing it play out in real time. She even mentioned there's this guy that's sending her Bible verses, this simp, guy
who started out as a friend. Yeah.
Who's just friends. Now he's sending, while she's getting piped on camera by other dudes, and he's sending her these Bible verses. And now she walks away from that and says, oh, now I will go. This guy is now my partner, and now we are together.
What is her name? Do you know what her name is?
Nala.
Nala Daddy YY. Here, let me just look her up real quick on Twitter, see if I can find her. Nala Daddy YY. Or that's her fucking
that's her TikTok name.
TikTok handle. Just Nala. Where is this chick? Nala Fitness sure Nala? Here we go, right here.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, exactly.
This is her?
Yeah.
This chick?
Yeah.
21 streamer, a Hago queen. What the hell does that mean? Daddy's girl.
It's a porn thing. And it's still here, right? Like,
I should probably be careful with putting that up on the screen because Twitter allows porn shit like that. Okay, so this is her, and what's her scoop? 17,000 follows. Fitness Nala XO. What is this? Is this her OnlyFans or link to something?
I'm guessing that's probably her OnlyFans or fan site or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem that I have with the Christian pill. It's like, the whole, repent your sins and you will be forgiven for your past. It's like a leopard does not change its spots. A leopard is a leopard, right? And this chick is what she is. She's a hoe. And pretending that she's not and that she should be dismissed of her past indiscretions. It's just absurd to me. It's like, if a guy goes and murders and then he ends up in a trial, can he just sit there and go, I've repented my sins to God, so I should be forgiven, so don't lock me up or put me on the fucking electric chair? That's not how things work.
Well, that's how they work in that faith, apparently. I mean, yeah, it's ultimately the same problem I've always had as well. And so now again, you got people that'll argue that, well, you've still got to do things, but the muddying of the waters around, religion is the cage, not Christian. Well, someone explain to me the difference. Like, someone please,
what is the difference?
Come on.
Like, what does she mean by that?
It's just word salad. I really don't know, and it's very common. It's just. And I think the most telling thing of this is so many people are rushing to defend because it's just, she is now part of this thing. She's now part of our group. And regardless of how she was in the past, she is better for it now. And now she's absolved of everything. And some guy is going to fall for it or already has. I made a comment. Somebody asked me a question. They were like, well, how is this going to affect her being a good wife or mother? I said, well, because her past is going to dictate everything when it comes to these future relationships. If she does get married or she does have kids, they are going to be worse off than if she had not had this checkered past. And you can kind of hear it in her voice and talking. She's like, I had the Gucci bags. I've had the trips. I've had this and had that. And I think what you're seeing a woman realizing that chasing these material possessions and chasing bags and trips and all of these attention-seeking behaviors is ultimately empty for most women. And women are happiest when they have a loving, caring relationship with their family and a husband and marriage, if that's their thing, and kids. It's not doing all this other degenerate nonsense. And so now it's like, okay, well, I'm being faced with my consequences. I've been on enough podcasts and I've gotten enough comments from people that are saying, it's going to be difficult for you to find a guy that actually wants to take you seriously. You better fix your stuff. And now she's taking that to heart, it seems like. And everybody's just letting her off the hook. I mean, not everybody. And there's some people that agree. I mean, that tweet, like I said, it blew up, and there's detractors, but there's supporters as well. But it's fascinating to see, real time. And there's another girl that I tried to get on Ladies Night probably four or 5 months ago, who had an OnlyFans, and she was with some OnlyFans agency. And then the last 2 or 3 months she left, deleted everything off of her profile. And now she's preaching about, I'm a God woman now, and I've joined the church and I'm a member and I'm forgiven. And it's like right on schedule, right when the doctor ordered it. So it's a very interesting phenomenon, but not surprising.
I just did a search for the I Love Cheating podcast, which I've never heard of before. Nala, nothing came up, just the clips of her on the whatever. But anyway, I put a poll up over here for you guys in the chat. It's just, should you be forgiven for your bad choices in the past? I didn't say women, I didn't say men. I just said, should you be forgiven for your bad choice in the past? I'm talking at this level. I'm speaking specifically at the level that we just use as an example. It's trending 60-40 right now in favor of no. But look, man, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day on a business related topic, and he's like, Rich, man, you got all these red flags, how about some red flags for entrepreneurs or people in general? And it's like, they carry over, they carry over in most realms. I mean, if you've made bad choices in life that tarnish your reputation, I mean, I'm a man. Like my man, like, the man card is, your word is your fucking word sort of thing. Like when I look a man in the eye and I shake his hands and we have a deal, we have a fucking deal. Right. But women don't operate on that same level of integrity and, competence and accountability that men are held to. It's a totally different standard. That's fine. It's just what it is. But I still don't think that people that make incredibly bad choices that tarnish their reputation in the past should be forgiven just because they find, a book that has a carve out that allows them to be reborn, or if they can dip themselves in water, then they're reborn and they're fresh or whatever. Like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Well, the main issue that I had, and I brought this up in my Thursday show, was this idea that what the book is teaching, or Christianity and religion is teaching, is that it's so central around faith, which is, a belief in something without evidence, essentially. There's no good reason to believe something, in my opinion, without evidence for it. And so that ultimately is what gets a lot of these guys put in these precarious situations. I, talked about one particular creator in the space who is going through a divorce, and it's got announced a couple of weeks ago. And I know it's a guy that you've met before. I know it's a guy that you've chatted before, and we don't have anything bad to say about the guy. But it's, you take somebody that embodies this stuff so much and does everything that he's supposed to do, right? Like get married, have a bunch of kids, have the homestead, be a God-fearing man, this kind of thing. And what they don't realize is that being a Christian or being religious does not somehow insulate you or protect you from the harsh realities of human nature, especially female nature, when it comes to hypergamy. You're taking a illogical being, being that thrives on emotions to make their decisions, i.e. women, and you're trusting that they will be making a logical decision, which is, I will stay with my husband because of a faith and a belief in God in this book. And they're almost the antithesis of one another. They're almost completely at odds with one another. For men, it's like the book says this, God says this, so therefore I will do that. Fine, makes sense, logical, got it. We're men. Type like loud and clear. Women don't operate that same way, right? And so there's always some justification and some mental gymnastics that can come through. It's like, well, I know it says that, but it also says this, but it also says that, or like, well, my ladies group told me that my husband needs to do all these things, and he's not doing that, so therefore I am absolved of this, or I found some sort of loophole in the book, and that's what guys don't understand. And like there's no answer for the answer that guys have is like, well, I'm going through problems with my marriage. It's like, just read the Bible more, just pray harder, just have more faith. And none of these are actual actionable items that do or have any material application in the real world. And I think a lot of guys get screwed up for this. That it doesn't the Bible doesn't say learn the marriage laws of the West and understand how to protect yourself. It's have faith, get married, have children, and then happily ever after. But you've been in the space long enough to know that's not reality all the time.
Yeah, here's something else that's sort of tied in what we're talking about over here that popped up this week for me as well. So Casey Jones, I did a private webinar with him that I released to my email list. So, I mean, if you guys aren't on my email list, let me just drop it up in the fucking bottom over here. Red flags. That's it. Yeah, here you go. So entrepreneursandcars.com, red dash flags. So I did a private 90-minute Zoom call with Casey, and I uploaded it to my email list. So he's a polyamorous. He's married to 6 women, lives in Australia, he's heavily involved in sex parties and stuff like that in the past. So he's got some really interesting stories on, female behavior. So he posted this the other day that I shared. I just said, every woman has a skeleton or 2 in the closet. Some like this one have a graveyard. It's not very long. I'll just read it to you. It said, I attended a sex party at a mansion one night, probably over 100 people in attendance, 40-60% male-female split. All girls were hotties. All dudes were chads. One absolutely beautiful girl there for her first time, just turned 19. The host introduced her to the guests and announced that she had requested as many loads of I'm going to try to water it down for you, YouTube. As many loads of water in her mouth as possible throughout the night. She wanted to see how many loads of water she could swallow throughout the course of the evening. Approximately half the men sought her out when it was time for them to pour a glass of water. She would immediately stop whatever she was doing, drop to her knees, and drink the water in her mouth willingly. No question of who they were or even if they had introduced themselves. Just a tap on the shoulder, and she would eagerly drink the water. By the end of the night, the host reported that she had drank over 30 glasses of water. I heard recently she's married now. Some weak beta dude who's in finance. He'll never know who his wife truly is and what she's capable of. Cute wedding photos on Facebook, though. Like I said earlier in that post, all women have skeletons in their closet. Some have a graveyard. This is a graveyard. It doesn't matter what you're dealing with, my dudes. There's always a story somewhere that you don't want to hear or know about that your girl was involved with. I'm telling you, you see these guys and they're like, oh, my wife's a good one. Like, go to an all-inclusive resort and the pool bar with the swim up stools and the Chad behind pouring the drinks, the local Dominican guy or the Jamaican dude, and all the ladies at the bar smashed out of their mind, behaving like the way they behave. That's your girl too when she goes on vacation. Don't think your chick's any different. Or that's how she behaved in the past, before she might have stopped doing that. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? It's just the reality of the world, my man.
And he very well may find out one day when she decides to go on a girls trip, or when she decides what to have, or whatever she's going to do, or whatever she did on her bachelorette party, this, that, and the other. So, yeah, man, it's the willingness to overlook and forgive and just say it doesn't matter is pretty astounding to me. That's the thing that keeps making me do double takes whenever I get a new comment. I mean, I've stopped reading the comments. There's hundreds of them. I can't go through. I mean, they're all mostly the same. It's like, oh, well, that's the whole point of Christianity, and that's the whole point of this. And there's also people that are like, well, men do it too when they convert to Islam, right? Again, anything to pass the buck.
I love that. Men do it too. Men do it too. That's like the carve out. Yeah, it's not the same thing. It's not the same. Right. Like, it's hard for a man to rack up notches. A man that has been with multiple women has a level of admiration and attraction to women. It's not the same thing. It's never been the same thing. A man that can attract a lot of women can, because he's desirable, because he has resources, because he has skills that women want. That's just attractive. Like, we ask gals all the time on ladies' night. We've done this several times where it's like, is there a notch count that would turn you off, with a guy? And it's like, most women are just like, not really, or I just don't want to know about it. Right. Yeah. Or if they pick a number, it's like, I don't know, like 20 or something like that, like something that's not that meaningful.
And I don't think that comes from the actual, and it's not the same triggering biological response that we have. It's not repulsion. It has everything to do with my belief. I think it has everything to do with they want to be the one that's special. They don't want to be just another number, just another notch, because women walk through the world with their main character syndrome, where everything they do circles around them. It's female solipsism. So to sit here and know that this guy's had 150 or 200, whatever women before, she's just 151, 201, or whatever it might be. And so that makes her feel insignificant when her whole world and her whole influence has always been about how she's significant, she's on the pedestal, she's this, she's that. And so it's very shattering for them. So I think that's why they don't want to know. It's not because they have this repulsion to the number of body count. And they always make up, so like, oh, like, what about STD and diseases and things like that? And it's like, first of all, like, not a huge deal. I mean, pop a pill, take a shot for almost everything these days. There's very few that are around that stick with you long term, and the ones that do are generally not that bad. But even if that were the case, but guys using protect, I mean, there's ways around it, right? So it's always just passing the buck, and it's always coming down to more excuses. Yeah, I mean, it's.
Did nuts. You ever see that old Reddit post from the guy that found his wife's sex tape?
No.
Like, I just pulled it up. I want to show it to you.
Oh God. Because
this is like another one of those interesting stories that like guys don't contemplate when they get married, right? It's like, they think they find a great gal. Jesus. She's subscribed to a specific religion and everything's all good. There was another story that Casey told about this. Oh my God. This Muslim girl that came over one time. And I mean, you can go look at his feet. I really can't get into the specific details. But again, holding out to be pure, perfect to the religion, steps out for a few hours one day, does some, disgusting shit, and then just goes home and pretends like it never happened. Check this one out. Found my wife's old sex tape. Now our marriage is on the rocks. If you have any advice, please share. I posted this earlier on another subreddit, ended up getting removed because of fighting in the comments. I'll sum it up what happened. I met my wife 7 years ago. She was extremely picky when it came to sex. She told me she had only been with one other guy before. She would never give a BJ, only would do certain positions, and found almost every sex act degrading. I was frustrated by this, but I really liked her and hoped over the years she would open up. Over the years, it never got any better, but I learned to get over it. Well, I ended up finding an old video from her college days of her engaging in group sex with 6 other people, 5 guys, 1 girl. In the video, she has, I'm just going to say, every possible angle violated. I'm just going to skip through all that. I'll just kind of highlight it so I don't have to read it out. And in the video, she says, I am a filthy 304. All of it, she was enthusiastic about it. I ended up feeling really sad. I can understand certain stuff people don't want to do, but it wasn't the fact she didn't want to do them. She didn't want to do them with me. Remember, this is the problem that he's got with it. She didn't want to do them with me, but with every other guy, she was their 304. I was angry, hurt, and I ended up saying some stupid shit to my wife. I asked her if she could drop our daughter off her sister's house because I wanted to talk to her. She asked why. I told her we discussed when we came back. I don't remember all the details of the conversation, so I'll try my best to sum it up. So this is like the mental gymnastics that women will go through when you start probing them and asking them questions about things that you either know about or you suspect. Me, is there anything about your past that you've been hiding from me? Her, why are we talking about this? Me, I just want to know, were you in any type of corn or anything like that? Her, are you taking drugs? Me, see, this is what they do. They try to, deflect, right?
Yeah.
Me, I found your video from college with other guys. I don't know who you are anymore, and I feel ill being around you. She starts crying. Me, do you have anything else to say? She continues to cry. This was pointless. I go grab my keys and leave, and she tries to stop me. Me, if you don't want me to leave, then I need you to be 100% honest with me and tell me why you lied to me for all these years. She, I didn't want you to think I was a 304. Me, I would have been perfectly fine if you told me. I would have loved to have done those things, those wild things with you. Look, I get it. I don't turn you on like those other guys do. You like doing all those things, but not to me. Her, that's not it. I didn't want you to think less of me. Me, no. It is exactly that. There's a thing lying about sleeping with other guys. It's not that you didn't like doing those things. You didn't like doing them with me. Her, I can't do that stuff with you. I'm attracted to you. You know that. Sorry, I can do that stuff with you. I am attracted to you. You know that. Me, I don't want you to do it because you feel like you have to. I want somebody that actually desires me. Her, I can change. I can change. Those famous words. I promise not to ruin our marriage over this. We can work things out. We can go to marriage counseling. There it is, because that always solves problems. Seriously, talk to me. Me, marriage counseling won't change how you feel about me. Look, I'll try marriage counseling, but I want a trial separation for now. Her, please don't do this. Don't throw away our marriage for what I did in college. Please. Me, stop effing acting like it's a one-time thing. Be honest with me about how many guys you did before me, how many guys you indulged in, how many guys you let put it in every other place but the normal place. Her, why does it matter? I said I'll do them with you. Me, I'm so effing lucky. I got married to a 304 that F's like a prude. That was the highlight out of the entire post. The summary was the guy married a 304 that F's like a prude. Her, please don't waste all of our marriage for this. I'm willing to change. Me, I'm not divorcing you. I want a trial separation for now. I want to see how things go right now. I'm so sick of looking at you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's a whole story about how he's all pissed off about it. You guys can go look it up and read the further details. I don't want to bore you with everything. But this, this is like the typical chick that gets right with whatever, holds, women sell purity. You have to understand, women sell this vision, this notion of pureness, of goodness, of wholesomeness to the guy that they want to lock down. They're not going to sit down and wear a t-shirt that says everything that they did in the past on that t-shirt. Women are duplicitous. They are going to deceive you of their past. Look, you want to go digging for dirt, you'll probably find it. I'll say that. You want to dig for dirt on any chick, on anybody in general, you will probably find it.
Yeah, selling purity is the big nail on the head there. I mean, that's just. I mean, look, like so many red flags. There's so many guys out there that live like this guy. They get with a chick, they think it's going to get better. It never does. They learn to silently live with it, and then the whole world comes crashing down when he realizes that he's the guy she settled for, basically. And what's interesting is that he wasn't even repulsed by the video. He wasn't even like, "Oh my God, you're disgusting," and you did this with all these guys. He's just mad because she wouldn't do it with him.
Right.
Which, understandable, right? But yeah, that tagline is great. Got married to a 304 who bangs like a prude. But and don't know if they ever figured it out, got back together or whatever. But you see him still trying to have a logical conversation. Like, hey, you need to tell me everything that you did. You need to. It's a waste of your time, man. Like, what makes you think she's going to be honest with you now?
Here's the thing too. When you find the evidence, she will only admit to the evidence that's presented. There's things before, around that are still in the blind spot that you don't know about, that she won't volunteer. She's not going to be like, "Oh yeah, I did a lot more than what you see in the video, by the way, and here's a list of all the other."
Oh yeah, here's all the other stuff.
Yeah, no.
Just in case you find it one day.
Yeah, just in case it pops up somewhere at some point.
Well, now while we're on the subject, here's everything else that I did on top of that. But that's why, in general, you know
what they say about that when women cry about scenarios like that, like he talked about over there, they're not crying because they're sad, they're not crying because they're hurt, they're crying because they got caught.
Yeah,
sorry man,
good girl is a bad girl, just hasn't got caught yet, right?
Yeah.
But I saw something else, and this was kind of along the same vein. So this guy, I think you've had him on your show before, Alex Date Psych or whatever his name is. So he's been running a couple of polls. I know you responded to one. I responded to another, actually. There were two separate ones. We can probably go into both because we got time. One is about there's one about the dad bod, but the one that I was commenting on when I made a tweet about women selling like purity and good naturedness was, he runs these polls on Twitter sometimes, and it's like, hey, women, how many times have you been attracted to a guy physically, but then his personality ended up, turning you off after that or something like that. And it's just riddled with comments like, oh yeah, he was super hot, and then he treated me bad, and then I stopped seeing him, I stopped being attracted to him. And it's like, you're all liars. It's like,
here's the problem with polls. So
there you go. Yeah.
Here's the one that you're making reference to. Early results in this poll, but I don't expect to change much. Men are significantly more likely to describe male bodies that look like these fat as dad bods. So the question is, do the men in this picture have a dad bod? So these dudes over here. The male responses are basically split 50-50 almost, with yes dominating. And the women they obviously polled less because his following is mostly male, but they polled much higher for no. And to that point that you're making, with polls, and Alex is all right in my book. I mean, I had him on a podcast. We were talking about a poll that he did, or a survey that was for dating deal breakers. And here's a story behind it. He had like 36 or 8, like a long list of all these dating deal breakers that women answer to. Things like, I don't know, he's broke, he's not competent, he doesn't have good hygiene, he's got kids, like all of these things, right? And I'm looking through the list, and you and I both know that one of the things that women sort men through is height. Like, height's really important to women.
Yep.
And I said to him, I go, why didn't height show up on this poll? And he looked at me like he almost had like deer in the headlights. He's like, I don't know. I'm like, because women routinely disqualify men if they're not tall enough. But why didn't it show up in your survey? And he said, I don't know. And I said, I think it's because you need a chick hooked up to a lie detector when they take a poll, because they have this whole thing about reputation management. They don't want to come off as being too judgmental for something that's inconsequential or beyond the guy's control.
Monday.
Yeah.
We see
it every Monday on the show, right?
I don't want to speak for all women, right? Yeah. Like, I'm just speaking for me.
So that's how you end up with like polls like this, where, the ladies say in the poll that these aren't dad bods. If a woman has a choice, now here's what's really funny. So his girlfriend's name is Kate Psych. Let me just see if I can pull her up. CAITP. Come on, Kate, KAIT. Hang on. So his girlfriend ran a poll. Actually, he might have retweeted it, so maybe I can just find it in his timeline. Come on. And the poll was, what does a good looking guy look like, right? And they started posting pictures. Come on, Twitter. What the hell's going on? Here we go. Let's see if we find it. And all the guys that started posting all the gals that started posting the pictures of what a good looking guy looks like were posting pictures of dudes that were jacked as fuck. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, flat stomach, the exact shit that I talk about in my book, right? So it's like, these psychology or Evo Psych like polls that are taken by guys like Mac and Murphy and Alexander, again, like I like them generally speaking, but they fail to recognize that a lot of the data that they collect can be generally skewed in the wrong direction. Right. And it's like, look, man, what women say and what they do are often two totally different things. When there's a very clear difference between the two, you've got to believe what their choices are. It's as simple as that. There's no way around it.
And that's the fundamental issue that I have. It's that you take these polls and these surveys with the presupposition that women are going to be honest about what they find attractive or what they want in men, when the opposite is plainly and demonstrably true. We can see the type of women they talk about that they want, and then we can see what kind of men women are going after. So, and even if it's an anonymous survey, even if it's anonymous, women still have this innate desire to be their own PR team. They have their own, because they have this own internal monologue as well. It's like, well, I don't want to be this. I don't want to be, speak for everyone. I don't want to be seen as shallow, even though it's like, nobody will ever find out that you made this survey. Nobody will ever find out what you said, and they still do it.
So, the post she made is, women, what man is a 10 physically attractive in your opinion? Post a picture with a celebrity model or whatever. Of course, she posted a picture of her boyfriend here, Alex. I mean, he's jacked. He's a generally good-looking guy. I don't know about this fucking thing on his chin. I
the
cleaned that up,
goatee's a little strange.
But here are some of the photographs of the dudes that get posted, right? Like here, Chad-looking guy. He's got puncher eyes. Matthew McConaughey, another dude. Chick with a dog, obviously.
Of course, it's a dog.
Of course, dog or cat. Yeah, fucking Superman. I can't remember this guy's name. He's from Walking Dead. He was the guy with the baseball bat with the thing. Scott Eastwood. That's Clint Eastwood's son. Chris Evans.
Captain America.
Fucking dude with a swimmer's body. Swimmer's body is objectively peak. Abs are ideal, but at the very least, you need shoulders and flat stomach. Again, a chick, right? Idris Elba. I think that's Chris Pratt, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know who that dude is.
Some actor.
Again, like Henry Cavill, like look at him here, right? Like objectively, where are the dudes with the fucking dad bods, right? But the poll says, most women prefer dad. So get the fuck out of here again, right? Like watch what women are choosing in real life, right?
Yeah, if this was true, then all male strip clubs would be just full of dudes that are
fat
chubby.
Dudes.
Like there wouldn't be, like Magic Mike would be full of chubbos that don't have abs or that can't dance. Like,
Great point. Every single, like I've had 2 or 3 male strippers on for podcast interviews, and they're all fucking objectively jacked, good looking guys that know how to move, right? There's no fat dudes that ever end up in like jobs that work at strip joints.
And from what I understand, like Alex gives advice to guys. Like one of the best things you can do is get in shape, get jacked. Like he gives that advice. But again, when you turn around and say, well, women, what do you find attractive? And then you put this out there, like it's this like stated preferences, like are like Kizza says, like, look, Kizza, stated preferences are rarely true, whereas revealed preferences are always true because the latter is based on action.
Yeah.
In short, pay attention to what people do, not what they say. I mean, that's what it boils down to at the end of the day.
Let's grab a few more of these here that popped in. Past dictates the present. The past and present dictate the future. Most people don't change as they're creatures of habit. Because like I said, like a leopard does not change a spot. Thanks for the super chat. Nobly says, Bible doesn't say your sin's consequences will be completely removed, especially if your lifestyle of sin was larger than normal. Moses couldn't enter the promised land because his life's purpose. Dude, you'll get a different story from 12 different guys. I
don't even know what this means. Call in.
Yeah, like you'll get a different story from 12 different guys. You ask the same question, you get 12 different answers based on what Bible, religion, or whatever it says. I mean, I had that guy Chase on from like the whatever podcast, the co-host guy on on the Christ pill a couple months ago. Him and his buddy, I can't remember his name, Canadian guy that's a power lifter. And, he went on about how, you are forgiven for your sins if you repent and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, but would you choose a woman that had slept with a whole bunch of dudes? And he's like, no, I wouldn't choose her for wife material, but if she's forgiven, she's forgiven. So it's like, what is it then? King David couldn't build the temple because his sins in war, he shed too much blood. David was forgiven but restricted. Priest's daughter who commits adultery gets a harsher punishment as usual. The Bible, New Testament included, treats female promiscuity worse than I'm guessing that's male promiscuity. Even though both are shunned, pastors should only marry virgins. That's Old Testament, but should be applied today. Keep this in mind. A priest couldn't be a priest if his wife wasn't a virgin, but the priest's virginity isn't a question. The best if he is one before he's married. Jesus hates 3 of 4 Yeah. I mean, everybody has their, specific take on what rule book, what Bible, what scripture, whatever it is you want to follow. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I just put a call link. I'm putting it in the chat.
I think I already pinned it at the top, didn't I?
Yeah, I just put it in there again.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, whatever, man. I don't know. I'm spending too much time on hoes again. They're just everywhere, man. And it's like they all want to be forgiven for their stupid shit. What Andrew Tate said was true. If women walked around with like an odometer on their forehead, showing their notch count, the world would be a different place completely.
100%.
And women would preserve their value and their beauty and their sexuality because it would be known, right?
And it's perfectly acceptable using it as a means of financial gain and status signaling and things like that. But when it comes to, and this is something I've found interesting week after week for Ladies Night, and I was actually having a conversation with, one of my ladies friends yesterday about finding a man, right? She's going into a career that's very laden with promiscuity and high status guys. I won't really get into exactly what it is, but there's a lot of travel involved. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of giving her a hard time, like, oh, are you going to find an XYZ guy? She's like, well, I was talking to this one guy and he was inviting me over to his house. And then all of a sudden I found on Instagram, he had a girlfriend that lives with him. What the hell's up with that? And we kept having the conversation, and it's, as always, it comes back up. It's, I want to be seen as a woman for my accomplishments and what do I have to say and, my brain and my intellect and my this and my that. And the fundamental problem, it's like women want to they'll use their beauty and attractiveness to get what they want in the short term, like get entry to clubs, to be able to get free drinks at bars, to be able to get male attention so they can get them to spend money on them. But when it comes to getting a guy to take them seriously, now all of a sudden they want to flip and go to, it's like, oh, I have a degree or I'm smart or I'm this.
This is the shit that I get in my DMs from broads. Check this out. Pop this up here. So this chick DMs me. You need help urgently.
That's the best. How they always sound off like that.
You need help urgently. Your books are so disrespectful to women. Here we go. Of course, she can't answer that damn question because it's typical, right? Your books are so disrespectful to women and feeding people really effed up views that aren't based on love whatsoever. I hope you wake up, enter your heart more, and recover from your own lust addictions. It's glaringly obvious that you really need to stop spreading the fact that men are entitled to sex. No strong woman is going to want to be with a man who is arrogant and disrespectful. So her main point here is it's glaringly obvious, and you really need to stop spreading the fact that men are entitled to sex. I've never said men are entitled to sex anywhere. I said to her, show me where I say men are entitled to sex and I'll donate $100,000 to your favorite charity. You've literally written a book on it. And what she does is she pops up a screenshot of the tweet, which says a woman will break all her rules if she views you as an alpha every single time. She will willingly enter your frame. It's straight out of my book. You can read my book. There's nowhere in the book where I've said men are entitled to sex. But this is the level of mental retardation that you deal with, right? You have a lot of explaining to do. You're complete and utter disrespect towards women, their bodies, and blah, blah, blah. Like, where did I say it? I didn't say it anywhere. Like, this is like, this is the level of gymnastics that are played in women's heads. They don't understand. It's like I'll literally give you $100,000 to your charity if you can show me where I've said men are entitled to sex from women. I've never said that.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
They just take everything out of context.
It's their favorite thing. It's to find something we say and then make something up around it or turn it into something that is so anti-correct, or that's such an off-the-wall idea that it's perceived as wrong regardless. And then they argue against that. Yeah. And it's, who are you arguing with? You're arguing with ghosts. And it's like, listen, women will do it because women read between the lines, and logic and rational is not their strong suit. They are much better at covert communication and reading between the lines and subtext and all that. And so, like, fine, maybe they get a little bit of a pass. But when a dude does it, that's when it's even worse. When guys are like, you just hate women, you this, and you talk about this and that.
Those
you think guys should
just
be, and it's like, you guys are idiots, because you're supposed to be the logical one. You're supposed to be able to read something and comprehend what it means, and you can't even do that. Yeah.
I'm going to invite her on to ladies' night. Let's see if this bimbo comes on.
Do it.
We'll
get her on.
They never will. I'm live every Monday at 8 p.m. It's always point and sputter. You said this. Okay, show me where I said it. I'll give you $100,000. Oh, I can't find it, but I'm just going to take your words out of context.
Yeah.
Cowards.
I'll take that $100K check. My God. I'll find it. Yeah. But I think that's been one of my biggest learnings that I've seen so far, is that, always selling purity, but then also at the same time not selling what men are actually buying. I think I said that on Monday, this past ladies' night. I don't think women really got it. The women that I was talking to kind of went over their head. But, if we know this about men, and this isn't even opinion, like, we know if any woman were to read anything by David Buss, for example, and understand at a foundational, just basic level about attraction and evolutionary psychology and evolutionary biology, about attraction.
Even those guys, by the way, get called sexist or misogynist for publishing studies from their lab work, right?
Right.
So it's like, you're not immune to it. Like, even if you're a fucking scientist with a PhD after your name.
Studies are cool, but only if the data is what we agree with and we want to promote.
Exactly.
Right. And so, but even if they did that, and if they were to do that, and even maybe to your point, you're right. Even if they were to do that, they probably would still be arguing against it. But it's so much easier. It's so much easier for women just to get in the gym, not eat like shit, wear some makeup, grow out their hair, be feminine and attractive, and lean into that naturally. That is so much easier than all this other bullshit that they're doing, going to these 4-year, 6-year, 8-year colleges, getting all these degrees, spending all of this money, moving to this city, like working into this 9-to-5 soul-sucking corporate job. All of that stuff is way more difficult than it just is. Be in your natural feminine essence, work out, don't look like a pig. Like, why are they not taking that route? Why are you taking the easy way out? Why are you trying to fight and roll rocks uphill? And we had our guest, our 32-year-old Bruna, on last week, who's like, I want to be recognized for my struggle. I want to be recognized for my sacrifice. It's like, well, you're not gonna.
That's what a man wants.
Where do we go from here?
That's
right?
what a man wants, right?
Where do we go? Like, you want this, you ain't gonna get it. So at one point, something's got to give.
But wasn't that an interesting example of a traditionally sort of feminine girl that comes from Brazil, moves to the United States, not speaking English, and then not only adopts the culture and language, but every toxic belief that doesn't serve women and the sexes in general, right? When she's talking about, I want to be recognized for my struggles. I want to be recognized for my business accomplishments and my acumen and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, okay, so I pull up your Instagram and it's all pictures of your body. It's all TNA, right? It's like, why aren't you posting pictures of yourselves, receiving awards from Entrepreneurs Organization for company culture and, profit growth or any of those things? It's like, no, because she inherently knows that, her values based on her attraction or beauty, which is why women, when they're using social media, they hold that out to men. But, in a relationship, it's all about, I want to be recognized for my struggles, for my accomplishments, for my success. I want to be respected. And it's like, you're basically talking like you're a man, because that's what men want, right? Like, we want to be like, I do things to, to accomplish shit and to put a little dent in the universe, not for validation from women, but women and other men do acknowledge those skills and those accomplishments that you achieve. There's not I was part of EO Toronto for years, I think 7 or 8 years or some shit. I was in forums. There's probably about I'm going to say 20 to 22% women in EO Toronto, and they're all very successful. They're generally over about 30. They're not generally younger, so it's generally 30 plus. And to qualify to be an EO, you have to have a business that does over $1 million in annual revenue, and you have to be the founder of the business. So these are like genuinely accomplished entrepreneurs. And nobody ever, is like, oh, you're getting extra, like a hat tip for your, success. It was like, you're a chick. They would do their hair. They would dye it. They would put on the high heels. They would put on the Spanx. They would put on the leggings, the push-up bra. They do everything. The makeup, They would do all the work to make themselves look beautiful, right? They never, ever, ever once, showed up untidy, uncut, looking average or basic, or even like, like your mid-style gal today. It's like they know beauty is important, and it's unfortunate that they're moving away from the fact that beauty is what men are attracted to. Women don't share their pot of gold with men. Like men, I think inherently know. I mean, there's some guys that will chase like sugar mamas, and there's some older women that are very accomplished in their careers, and they will date younger guys. I know Sterling Cooper said once that he was a male escort, and most of the women that he was working for were like 40 plus successful, like loaded women, that would buy his time. They do exist, but it's not very common.
But you even heard her. She was like, well, of course he needs to be more successful than me, right? I'm not going to date some guy that's not more successful, right? So like, she's not going to share. She's not like, it's like, look, you make enough money to support a family of this. Like, why wouldn't you do it? Well, no, like the guy's got to be more successful because he has to be the leader. So it's, I mean, I also think it's a byproduct of women being petrified of realizing how simple men are and how easy it is to keep a man happy.
Yeah.
That they have to create all of these scenarios in their head about all of these laundry lists of things they do better or things they do different than other women to set themselves apart. But it's like you're spending all of your time in your life going towards things that men don't care about. So all you're doing is actually making yourself in a worse position. Anyway, we got a caller if you want to get to him.
Yeah, bring him in, man. Let's see what he's got for us.
All right. The noble one, you are on the air, my friend.
Hey guys, thanks for making it so easy to be a part of the show. I'm walking outside, so hopefully there's not bad feedback from the mic in the wind. But yeah, I just heard you guys talking about how, I guess it was in reference to that red-haired girl who was on a podcast, coming to Christ. And hey, I'm a Bible.
Your audio just got
lost you.
Where the consequences of people's whoredoms are completely eradicated once they get forgiveness. And I think what the red pill gets right a lot and gets too ridiculed about, and I hate to call it red pill, I know that's what a lot of dorks are a part of, the dork pill sometimes. But anyways, is that, hey, there's permanent damage done to yourself, especially if you're female, with promiscuity. And the Bible does teach this, but that's just not so popular. It doesn't keep people's rear ends in the pews and the seats. It doesn't keep the tithes coming in. So a lot of the churches just push it. I mean, they don't talk about it at all. And I was just throwing in the super chat saying, hey, here's examples in the Bible of permanent damage done to people's lives because of sin. And the super chats, you can only say so much, but I was mainly wanting to say two things. In the Old Testament, which, this is a lot of Christians, and which I believe this too, say that when Christ came, a lot of these laws were amended. That's really the right term to use for the change from the Old to New Testament. Mm-hmm. And a priest's daughter, if she was caught in adultery, unlike everybody else caught in adultery back in the time of the Old Testament, they were stoned. But the priest's daughter got burned at the stake, showing that female promiscuity is much worse than male promiscuity. And another thing, I said this in the super chat, you could not become a priest if your wife wasn't a virgin. Now, a priest, it didn't bring you. If you read the Old Testament, you couldn't see whether or not his virginity mattered. That wasn't on the line. It's probably better for him to be one. But the point is, it's showing that female promiscuity is much worse than male promiscuity, even though males shouldn't be promiscuous.
Let me put a stop to this because I have a question. Why should anybody care about what the Bible says?
That's a very good question, because I believe it's the word of God. God has revealed himself to me and many other people.
Why do you
hey, this is the authority? Well, because that's a very good question. I used to be an agnostic when I was younger, really agnostic atheist. And whenever I started, I started, researching into religion and just seeing where things were coming from, just to see what the point of the existence is. And anyways, I kept
So how did that
seeing a
lead
lot of
you
people
to believe that Bible was true?
Well, let me just make it quick because I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. God revealed himself to me personally in my life. I fully believe this. He revealed himself to me and showed me consistently through these events in my life. I could give you one example, and I'll make a quick one, that his word, the Bible, is his authority. It is, a lot of people like to call it natural law. Natural law is the way the universe is governed. I believe the Bible is a perfect blueprint of natural law. On top of that, a testimony history of what's happened with God's interaction with mankind through the nation of Israel, his chosen people. I'm not a Zionist, but I am. That's why I believe. That's why I believe that. But I'll just give a quick story in relation, since we're talking about this. I just wanted to mainly come on here to say that, hey, Christianity treats female promiscuity worse than male promiscuity. But I will say, when I was younger, I was in a classroom saying a prayer to God, asking, hey, this is when I was an agnostic. This is in high school. Hey, there's a hot girl over there, God. If you exist, can I sleep with her? And then somebody threw a paper at my head, and it hit me. I was, tired from the day before, but I was sleeping. It hit me in the head, and I opened it up. I woke up, opened it up, and saw that it was literally probably from somebody's youth group the night before. It was literally like a whole pamphlet on why you shouldn't have sex before marriage while I was praying. So stuff like that led me to believe that the word of God, the Bible, is the word of God, and God wants to have a relationship. This is my personal belief.
Hold on. You're sitting here praying, saying, I want to sleep with this girl. And somebody hands you a pamphlet on why not to have sex before marriage, and that somehow has revealed truth to you.
No, what happened was I was tired. I was sleeping and praying. When you're in school, dude. When you're in school, you would be tired from the night before. I don't know if you had that issue, but I did when I was in high school, and I would sit through these classes. Anyways, I say all this to say I was asleep. I'd wake up, the teacher hands you this time, and you do it. And no, I literally was praying, hey, God, let me sleep with this one girl in school. And while I was sleeping, praying at the same time, somebody threw a paper at my head. It bounced off my head, lands on my table. I wake up. It was a crumbled up paper. I opened it. After that prayer was said, I opened it and looked at that.
How does that make it true?
Hold on a sec. So, and that convinced you that God is real?
That is one of the many things, one of the many pieces of the journey that brought me to become a Christian and believe the Bible's the word of God. Right. That's my belief. But
okay. All right, cool. All right. Well, appreciate you chiming in. Thanks, man. All right. Do you want to take a couple of these other ones before we start to wrap up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's see what we got with
Carlos was next.
Carlos.
Yeah.
Carlos, what's up, buddy?
Carlos, you're on.
What do you got for us?
Hey guys, big fan over here. Rich, thanks for having me. Moff, huge fan as well.
Thanks,
long story short, I'm a 29-year-old guy, very good at tennis, getting my confidence through becoming good at tennis. When I was younger, I used to kind of not play so well. There's this lawyer girl that's my age. She's very, very aloof in that she doesn't talk much, but she always wants to play with me. She asks me to play at 7:30 in the morning, at 7 a.m. sometimes, and I beat her. But after that, it's just kind of like transactional. And I'm trying to take it a step further. After 10 times playing with her at this time in the morning, I told her if we could play in the evenings. And she's being all difficult, and she plays with other guys at that time. Women make rules for alphas and break rules for betas. So
other way around, bud. Other way around.
Sorry, other way around. Yeah. And long story short, she's this lawyer girl, and she likes me because she keeps asking me to play, but it just stops there. And when I'm trying to kind of I asked her out for a beer too. I said, you want to go and get a beer sometime? She said yes, but maybe I should have, instead of just saying, let me know when you're free, I should have given her a date or a time.
So she said yes. So did you take her out, or what happened?
Well, no, because I said, let me know when you're free, because she's always saying she's so busy and that she's going on these, trips with her friends and stuff. So I just, I think I messed up there. But long story short, these lawyer women, I don't know if it's worth wasting my time, because her mom's a lesbian, and she's like one of those really aggressive Karens, that's in her 50s, and she's like super, super like into
What's the
tennis.
question here, Carlos?
The question is like, is it worth wasting time with these girls? How do you know if they like you? Like, how do you go forward from there?
Well, if a woman likes you, she'll make it obvious. Have you read my book?
Yeah, I read it, and I thought it was really good.
Okay, so yeah. Genuine burning desire. Is she showing you signs and signals of genuine burning desire?
Well, she asks me to play, and she said, she keeps texting me to play, but
okay, so she
that's
likes playing tennis with you.
Short of your interactions,
she likes
stops and ends with that.
Yeah, she likes playing tennis, but when you ask her out, she doesn't confirm a date. I mean, usually it's like, hey, I dig your vibe. Why don't we go grab a drink or a bite to eat or something like that? Yeah, I'd love that. Okay, so I'm free on this day. Well, I'm busy that day. Okay, so what about this day? Well, I'm busy on that day. Okay, well, then that's when you just go, okay, well, how about this? Here's my number. You've got it in your text. You message me when you want to get together, and then you just leave it at that. And if you never hear from her, who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just go on to the next girl. So what?
Okay. Yeah.
You don't want to mess with lawyer chicks anyway, man. Like, you don't want to invite that kind of stuff into your world.
Lawyer chicks are a handful, man. I was married to a lawyer. They're a special kind of woman. I would not co-sign dating professional women that are lawyers. They're I'm just going to say they're a special kind of woman. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Moff.
See you, buddy. Take care.
Thanks, Carlos.
All right, let's just do Joe, and then we'll start to sort of like wrap up here. Joe, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, hi, Rich. Hi, Moff. Long-time fan. So basically, when you guys were talking about the Reddit post, I kind of did a deep dive into the Reddit post and sort of read it while the show was going. And I just saw the update that eventually he'd go back with her. And I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, that's something that could like very well happen to me or to like any other guy. You get with a girl, you think, she's the one. And after 7-8 years, you find some sort of like video. So I just wanted to ask, like, what would you guys' advice be for such a situation? Because
she never had genuine. Yeah, she never had genuine burning desire for the guy when they got married. He said in the post, she was never really enthusiastic about him, but he married her hoping that would improve. When you get with a girl and you marry her or you marry her over time, things don't get better. Things don't improve. She's not going to go from being indifferent or somewhat interested in you to being strongly enthusiastic or having genuine burning desire for you as more time goes on. That's not how things work. Esther Perel talks about this in all of her studies, where a woman's desire just tanks over time for a guy. And it may not tank for every guy. It may go down a little bit lower. But the point that she makes is that a woman's interest in a guy diminishes much more rapidly than what a guy's interest in a woman diminishes over time. So why would you invite a chick in your life that from the get-go, like out of the gate, is not enthusiastic about being with you? Moff, what's your take?
Yeah, it's never going to improve. Like if she's like this at the beginning, and then there's no incentive for her to get better. There's no incentive for her to improve or to have higher desire or to act better, because you've given her what she ultimately wants, which is security and safety and a marriage and a home and all that kind of stuff. So where's the incentive for her to be more enthusiastic about sex? And guys will do this for years, and they'll just keep moving the goalpost. Like, well, if I could just get the right house, if I can just marry her, if I can just give her the kids, if I can just get her into this, she'll change, and it will never, ever happen. So regardless of this video, I mean, the guy should have never gotten with her and given her that in the first place. There's no reason to choose women that don't choose you. So that's why vetting is so extremely important when it comes to finding a woman. And it's also like why we generally don't recommend that guys get married in the first place, because of things like this. Because now, like, who knows why he went back to her? More than likely, he's just a guy that can't get anything better, doesn't have any better options, or doesn't want to do the work to get to the point where he will have better options. But if you know anything about the way the family law is in the West, more than likely he probably would have had to pay alimony. I don't know if they had kids or they did. So there's all of these things that he's now going to have to go through when it comes to untying the knot. And for whatever reason, he chose to just throw caution to the wind and put a ring on her and man up and marry that chick. And he either had to, he reaped the consequences for it essentially. So vet long and hard as much as you possibly can. If you can avoid it at all, don't invite the state into your personal relationships. And I think we just dropped out. But that's my thought on it. So,
all right. Well, I guess we'll wrap up on that note, man. We just cracked over 60 minutes on a resume general meeting, man. So if you guys want more of these, do all the things for the algorithm, the likes, the comments. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about.
This is your new Sunday service right here.
Yeah, this is your new Sunday service. Maybe we should call it the Sunday service.
I like that.
Wayne over here was asking, hey, Rich, did I hear correctly? You're going to be at George Gammon's Rebel Capitalist Live. Yes. I'll be down in Florida for his event. So if you're going, I'll see you there. I might try to have him on for a podcast, before the event, just sort of shoot the shit. But he's invited me down for the last several years, and Robert Kiyosaki's there, and he's asked to meet me and stuff. So I'm looking forward to checking it out and see what it's all about. And we're trying to schedule in some time to do some podcasts down in Florida, while we're down there. But we'll talk more about that later. That's it. So we'll see you guys there. Have an awesome weekend. Hope you guys enjoy the sermon. Moff, any final words? We got Ladies' Night tomorrow night, 8 p.m.
Same time, same place.
Yeah, okay. So there you go, guys. We'll see you later. Have an awesome one. Peace out.